Welcome to Transforming with Jeremy and Ellie. We are so happy we're here and you're here. If this is your first time watching our show, we want to especially welcome you and stick around. It's going to be pretty awesome. Now, if you're new to Blabber, you don't know how this works, or you've never commented before, let me go through a couple things. The little hands, the props. This is important because it tells Blab how popular we are, and it helps our show grow on Blab. So it's more than just a like. It actually kind of gets us some props. So that's right. I love seeing them come through. So thank you. And then you can post a formal question at any time during the show. All you got to do is in the chat box to your right, do /Q. And then your question. And what that'll do is that'll actually put it on the left-hand side for us, and we'll choose to either answer it at that time or maybe save it till the end. We're going to have some Q&A time at the end. So if you want to ask a question.
We always do.
That's right. That's right. We're here for you, and we love interacting. So /Q if you want to do a question. All right. Welcome. Ellie, you want to tell them what we got going on tonight?
We do, man. So, again, welcome, everybody. And this is I believe our 5th episode of Transforming with Jeremy and Ellie. Each week it gets better and better. And I don't mean us. I mean, we're as good as we're going to get.
That's right. And ridiculously good looking.
Ridiculously good looking. Some people I'm sure will have differing opinions, but that's okay. Our mothers think we're good looking. No, it gets better and better, really, because you guys are making it better. You guys are here. You're interacting. Jeremy and I work hard all week to get you guys the best information, to bring to you what we feel is what we needed back 8, 9, 10 years ago when we started this, and we didn't have anybody to teach us. So we really, really hope that what you're getting from us is beneficial and that you're using it in your day-to-day life. We really are here for you. Our social media, at FatBoyFitman, that's me. Jeremy Reed Fitness, that's Mr. Jeremy. Reach out to us. We respond to everybody all of the time. May not be right away, but we do respond to everybody. Send us your questions. Send us your concerns. Send us your comments. Let us know what you think. And, we're here. So without further ado, this week's topic is titled, You're Not Fat, Even If You Are 100 pounds overweight. What? Everybody's like saying, what? Yeah, okay, whatever, trick question. But I'm not going to answer it right away. I'm going to start out by saying the following. We know the 2 major things that we need in order to live a healthier, fitter, weight ideal lifestyle, right? Everybody knows this. If you ask anybody, go out on the street and we ask 100 people, I would bet you at least 90 out of 100 people would say 2 things: nutrition, diet, whatever word you want to use, correct? We need to know what to eat. And number 2 is exercise, physical activity, physical fitness, whatever words you want to use. Those are the 2 major things that we need in order to achieve a healthy life, whether it's to lose weight, whether it's to be fitter, whether it's to have good cardiovascular health, whatever it may be. Those are the 2 things. But there's one more thing. Personally, I think it's probably the most important, and it's the mindset.
That's right.
It's exactly how we think, how we feel about ourselves, etc. And I'm going to tell you a story. I've mentioned this before. I actually wrote a small article about it and posted it on my Facebook and my Instagram actually this week. And it's a story that goes back to when I was in high school. I grew up overweight. In the 9th grade that summer, I had my growth spurt, and I was doing a lot of swimming, and I was into, I wanted to get healthier. I wanted to lose weight. And by God, I did. I lost a lot of weight because I had that growth spurt. And I was probably the thinnest, skinniest, whatever you want to call it, I was ever in my life. I used to play football. I was in the junior varsity team in my high school. And there was a coach. We'll just call him Coach M because I don't want to rat him out too much. So Coach M, man, this guy was built. All the mothers, single and the married moms were like, oogling over this guy. Black hair, blue eyes, built dude. He looked like Tom Selleck, young Tom Selleck. And I wanted him to be proud of me, just like he was proud of all the big superstars. I wasn't a superstar. I was a bench warmer. Okay, even on junior varsity. But I played, and I wanted this guy to really, really be proud of me. So that summer at the end, we have early football meetings right before school starts. And I come in hoping that, I'm so excited to show them how much, I worked that summer and I lost the weight and, I'm not this, fat kid anymore.
That's
so
right.
I come into the auditorium where we're having our first football meeting. And I go up to him, "Hey, Coach M, how are you?" And he's like, "Man, what happened to you?" And I'm like, "Man, you know what, Coach? I'm eating better. I've been swimming and I've been doing a little bit of running, ready for the football season." He goes, "Wow, bro, you look great, man." I'm like all pumped up. I'm so excited. And, we're shooting the breeze for a little bit. And, I'm about to leave. I'm going away. I'm saying, "All right, Coach M, he's going to start his meeting or whatever." And he says, "Hey, Ellie, by the way, you look great, but never forget, you'll always be the fat boy." Whoa.
Wow.
Man, I got to tell you something that I'm feeling it even right now as I'm telling this story. It was just mind blowing to me. It was like everything that I had worked for and everything that I had felt positively just a quarter of a second ago just absolutely went out the door. And I'll tell you what, I was the fat boy from that day on for the rest of my life till about almost 9 years ago.
Yeah.
I gained the weight back, and it was that mentality that I was always going to be the fat boy. I was fat. No matter what I did, no matter how thin I got, no matter how fit I got, I was always going to be the fat boy. So guess what? I became that fat boy again because that's who I was to me. And this is where the question lies. How can you be 100 pounds overweight and not be fat? And I'll tell you what, you're not fat. And those of you that know me, and I've posted this before, you're not fat. We only have fat. We cannot define ourselves, as that. Because you want to hear something really scary? If we define ourselves as fat, and those of us that have been overweight or are overweight today, the easiest thing to say is, "I'm fat," right? Right, Jeremy?
Right.
When you were overweight, right? What did you used to say? "I'm fat."
I'm fat. That's right.
Fat. "I am" are two very powerful words. And whatever you put after that really becomes who you are. So I really was fat. I was that fat guy. And that's how I defined myself. So imagine me wanting to change my life and trying to get rid of that fat, meaning I was trying to get rid of myself. How scary is that? Right? That's scary. So
absolutely.
I'm not a psychologist and I'm not a psychiatrist or a mental health therapist, but in my own personal life and dealing with many, many people throughout the years, I have realized that definition of fat, overweight, fat boy, fat girl, chunky, chubby, gordito, whatever, in any single language, if that's what you define yourself as, it's going to be very, very difficult, if not impossible, to lose the weight. Not so much lose it, because you will lose it, but if you continue identifying as that, you're going to gain it back, because you have to always be who you are. It took me many, many years, even after losing 110 pounds, to realize that I was not that fat boy. And today I live very differently. I know that that's not who I have to be. I'm definitely not defined by that. I'm also not even defined by fitness. I am, it's a very thin line with what we define ourselves by. But what we need to define ourselves as is, a good parent, a good friend, a good human being, period. So this is my story. And this is, if there's one thing that you guys take away today, please let it be, stop identifying yourself as fat. When you speak, do not use those words. Say, "I may be overweight, but this is just something that I carry with me that I can get rid of. It is not who I am."
Right.
Okay?
The thing that we need to understand is that the fat that you're carrying on your body, or whatever the scenario may be, is fixable. And when you start talking to yourself negatively, like "I'm fat," it has a negative connotation. It's not stating that I have extra body fat on my body that I can get rid of. It is talking down to yourself. Now, an important thing, and if you read any sort of, there's tons of professionals out there that have written self-help books and do shows on self-help. And a common phrase is, our body will follow where the mind leads. And this really is true. This is absolutely true. If you are constantly focusing on your negatives, and I'm not talking about I'm fat, I'm talking about you look in the mirror and you pick out whatever it is. Ellie and I have both worked with enough people from around the world to realize that everyone's got something. So, you look in the mirror and our eyes go to right where our sore spot is. But once you start talking down to yourself, we are now in a completely different ball game. And like Ellie said, I'm fat. And now you're talking about getting rid of fat. You're talking about getting rid of this essence that you have now created for yourself. And so it really is very important that we start to focus on the positives that we are. I am all for, self-improvement. There's no one's perfect in this world. So even if you have what would be considered the perfect body in the world, I guarantee there's something about you that you could improve on, something that you could boost your life, whether it be emotional or relationship or whatever. Self-improvement is fantastic, and we should always be striving for that. But the second that we step away from identifying weak points that we want to improve on to now labeling ourselves and talking down to ourselves, this is a very, very dangerous game to play. And so, when we start neglecting the positive things about ourselves, we don't even mention those, but then all of a sudden, we start having these feelings and these negative comments of I'm useless or I'm ugly or I'm fat or I'm unlovable. And we start having these feelings. It drags us down so much to a point where we are now battling with things that are even above and beyond having some extra body fat on our body. Would you agree with that, Ellie?
I agree 100%, Jerry. I mean, 110%. On another note, there's, affirmations. I'm not a big affirmation guy. The only reason being is that, if they work for you, great. But I'm not a big affirmation guy. But I'm definitely one to tell you that speaking down to yourself, like Jeremy said, will only cause a ripple effect downwards. And to get out of that hole is really, really difficult the deeper you dig it. So the point here is, if you're not comfortable telling yourself, looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, I'm great, I definitely don't want you to get in the mirror and look at yourself and say, wow, I'm fit, if you really don't think you are, because that's, BSing yourself. And on a personal note, I think that's, it's not productive. I think we need to be neutral and we all have positive things, regardless of what they are in our lives right now. So pick that. Even if it takes you 5 minutes to figure out what it is. It may not be your body. It may not be your looks. It may not be your career. Whatever it may be, pick it. There's got to be something. You're a good parent. You're a good friend. You did a good deed. Use that and tell yourself, man, you know what? I'm good at this. Or I did well today with this, regardless of what it is, because that will absolutely leak into the rest of your life. Whether it's fitness, whether it's career, whether it is whatever. The energy that we exude, that we put out there, that we put into ourselves and put out there, is what leads us in day by day. That's right. If we continue dragging ourselves into this hole, the deeper we dig it, the harder it is to get out. And the more positivity that we put into our lives, regardless of what that positivity is. And by the way, speaking of fitness, going out and even walking, getting some of those endorphins going, I promise you, even on a negative day, and God knows we have them, right, Jeremy? We all have them.
Everyone has them.
Everybody has negative days, and some days are worse than others. But I can tell you, even just going out to walk for 15, 20, 30 minutes, getting the blood flowing, getting those endorphins, it is the best legal drug in the world. It will turn your negativity into positivity in a matter of half an hour maximum. I promise you. This is what we need to do. The positive self-talk without really BSing ourselves and giving our bodies some movement so those endorphins can kick in and make ourselves feel better so that the snowball goes uphill instead of coming downhill.
That's right. Yeah. You're right. It's not about BSing yourself. I mean, you shouldn't just say there and tell lies to yourself. That's not going to do you any good. But I think you're absolutely right in saying that everyone can point out something that they're good at, whether it's being great at your job or being a great parent or being a great spouse or being a great sister or a friend to somebody, or just just the satisfaction of doing the things that you set out to do, right? Set a goal for yourself for today. And when you do that, that could be getting those 30 minutes of exercise in, right? Awesome. You fulfilled what you set out to do. You're a person of your word. You actually did what you said you were going to do, and you're reaping the benefits. It goes without saying that we can all pick out the positives in life if we choose to. It's breaking out of the habit of nitpicking ourselves and being our own worst enemy in ways that we really need to break out of. Now, I have a story. And by the way, guys, if you would, the little tweet and post buttons on the left-hand side, if you could share this with your friends, it'd be greatly appreciated. We're trying to grow this, trying to get to as many people as possible, help as many people as possible. So, we count on you to get the word out as well. Thank you, Janet. I have a story, and it goes along the lines of what you were saying, of always being that fat kid, fat guy. I grew up chubby. I told my story a couple blabs ago, and so, getting to the extreme obesity, and then many years later, getting fairly fit. It was in, I believe, 2012. My wife and I vacationed in Mexico, Cabo San Lucas. And I went down. In fact, if there was a way for me to post photos, I have vacation photos. In fact, I have a photo that a selfie my wife and I took in our hotel room just minutes before what I'm about to tell you happened. And I'm in this, stringer tank top. Everything's revealed, but I'm in decent shape. I mean, I look decent. I took this photo, and then we went down to the pool, and I'm walking to the pool. There's a ton of people there, and I can remember to this day being very self-conscious. I mean, I was by far the buffest guy at this resort. It was the Westin in Cabo San Lucas. And I can remember walking down the stairs to the pool area being very, very self-conscious, because these tiny little tank tops I was wearing weren't covering up anything. And I've got, swim trunks on. And I can feel it, because it's the same feeling that I felt nearly my entire life, of hiding, and oh my God, it's a pool. Like the second swimming came up, even as a child, I was like, that means taking off my shirt, or then you're then you're guy swimming in your shirt. And I had these emotions come up. I can remember it. And I'm sitting by the pool, and the kind of waiter guy, the bartender / restaurant waiter guy that was going around the pool asking for drinks and food orders, came by and sparked up a conversation with me. And at this point, I had my shirt off, and I've got a little bit of loose skin, some stretch marks, and he came up and he said, you can look at you and you can see how far you've come. And he said, it is absolutely unbelievable. It's impressive. He said, I have so much respect for you, and you've got a fantastic physique. And at first I was like, the minute you start then you start getting self-conscious, it's the loose skin or the stretch marks or whatever. But then it hit me, and I kind of had this breakthrough moment of, oh my God, I'm afraid to take my shirt off because I've got a little bit of loose skin and a bunch of stretch marks. But here's a real life person that didn't have to say a thing, that came up, a stranger that came up and literally gave me amazing compliments and telling me how impressive it was that I have built what I've built. And it was this breakthrough moment for me. And it happened in 2012, of transitioning from, I'm the fat guy, be self-conscious, cover yourself up, whatever. Even after I lost all the weight, even after I had, a decent amount of muscle mass, transitioned over to, no, you know what? I have a fantastic physique, and the little bit of loose skin and stretch marks I do have are almost battle wounds, you may say, from the journey of life that I've been on. And it really was a very, very empowering thing for me to kind of make that mental switch. And it's amazing how it wasn't this process. I didn't take a 12-step program or a 6-month, a 6-month self, journey in order to get to this point. It was the switch of a mind. It was a stranger coming up and commenting, and all of a sudden this mental switch over to, you know what, I should be proud of my body, and I don't have anything to be afraid of. And it was a very, very empowering moment.
That's a great story, Jeremy, and on the positive note where, somebody's telling you something that made you feel good, right? But there's many times that we hear things that don't make us feel good, right? And I just want people to realize it's very, very, very important that other people's opinions, unless they're positive, they're just it's their opinion, okay? Right. And most of the time we live very self-consciously. I have to admit, I'm still pretty self-conscious, not as self-conscious as I was 9, 10 years ago, but definitely still have that little twinge of self-conscious. But every day I learn a little bit more, and I would love to, and I love to teach people saying other people's opinions really don't matter unless they're positive. If they're positive opinions, man, run with them. Take them, right. Build them up, and just and use them. If they're negative, you know what? There's that general feeling of uneasiness right? But try to use that and move it over to, well, it's just that person's opinion. Is it true or not? I don't know. Truly, do I care? It's just their opinion. It's not my opinion of myself. It's their opinion, and it's negative. Move on. Okay?
That's right.
So we spoke about, you had mentioned earlier, Jeremy, about how to build positivity for ourselves. How we speak down to ourselves, etc. I have a way where we can build our goals and at the same time feel really good about ourselves. This is like a little process, okay? And it's creating small little goals, okay? Many people on a weight loss journey usually have a goal of, I want to lose 20 pounds by, X date or whatever it is.
Right.
Or I'm going to lose 5 pounds this week. Stop that, because there really is no way of you controlling that. You, me, or anybody. Okay, I can say I'm going to lose 5 pounds this week. I may or may not. I don't know. I could do everything right. My body will react in the way that it is. But I'll tell you what, I can make the goal of saying I am going to, I'm going to run 20 miles this week. I'm going to break it up evenly or whatever it may be, but I'm running 20 miles this week. That is something that I can't control.
Right. I'm going to prep my meals.
I'm going to prep my meals. Okay.
Right.
I'm going to take food for lunch 3 times a week. You usually eat out every day. You go to a restaurant or, the office cafeteria. I'm going to eat 3 times a week from home, my cooked meals. I'm going to make sure that I get in, 20 minutes of cardio. I'm going to lift weights for the very first time this week. And I'm going to use just the leg press machine. That's all I'm going to do. These small, tiny goals, make sure that you take these goals, commit to them for 7 days, okay? Make them small, because at the end of every day, guess what you're going to tell yourself? I did it. And guess what that's going to do? That's going to make you feel good because you achieved the goal, okay?
That's right.
At the end of 7 days, you're going to say, I have achieved the commitment of 7 days. And what's that going to make you do? Make commitments for the following week. And so on and so on and so on. And guess what? When you get on the scale, I guarantee you that weight that you wanted to come off will most likely come off. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. There's a lot of variables here. But at the end of the day, it doesn't make a difference if the weight came off or not. You stuck to your commitments, and it's something that you can be very, very, very proud of. And it's
empowering.
It's incredibly empowering, and it will take you on to the following week. And that will take you on to the following week. And before you know it, you turn around, okay? Christmas is here again. You have totally changed your life. And you're like, I can't believe this, okay? Something that you think is hard. I get so many messages from people, Ellie, it's so hard. And I responded to somebody today. She said, it's so hard, but one day I'll get to it. I said, one day? Yeah. And it's hard. And I literally responded to her right away on my Facebook page. And I said, so-and-so, go outside right now and go for a 10-minute walk. And guess what? That someday just became now.
That's right.
And you just took your first step in achieving whatever goal it is that you have. So if there's something that you're waiting to do for the right time because you're looking for this all or nothing, okay? It is not about all or nothing, folks. It's about taking the small steps. Today is Sunday. Tomorrow is the beginning of the week. It is the perfect time to, when this blob is over and you go to bed or wherever it is, you sit down on your couch, take 5-10 minutes to meditate and I don't mean meditate, but just, just be with yourself and choose one or two small goals, commitments, if you will, for yourself this week. Jeremy and I would love for you to share those with us, by the way. If you would, on our social media, please send us an email or send us a message or just post them. We would love to keep track of that and commit to that for the next 7 days. And when you come back here next Sunday for our blab, please share them with us. Just put them on the posting here. I promise you, I want to hear these empowering stories. Everybody's going to feel, no matter how small it is, I'm serious. If it means 3 minutes of walking, if it means having one solid meal a day, that's it. Even if you're eating pizza the rest of the week, the rest of the day or whatever it is, and I'm not condoning that, but I'm just saying one meal.
Careful.
No, I'm just saying that it's so important. People
I agree.
Feel that it's so, that they either have to diet the entire week or they have to work out really hard and join a gym and all this stuff. And God, I'm so repetitive. I know you guys hear me saying this over and over again, but it's because it's so important to seriously take these small, tiny things and build them up slowly. You have no idea. You know what? Jeremy and I are perfect proof of that, of what small, tiny commitments consistently, day in and day out, over time, achieves us. Here we are. Yeah, go ahead, Jeremy.
I was going to say, I think that everyone on here, if they've ever done a weight loss attempt and kind of fell off track before, I'm sure that they can vouch for the fact that this all or nothing mentality of jumping, face first into all of this and biting off more than we can chew leads to failure. It does. It's just, it happens so often. In fact, the failure rate is so high that if you were a betting person, you'd bet against yourself and you'd likely win if you're doing this all or, just absolutely all in, like I'm going to change my life overnight type thing. And it just doesn't work that way. We are not built that way. Many of us have decades of, let's call them bad habits or habits that were not conducive for your goals that got you to your start photo to begin with. These are not going to go away overnight. And so the best way for us to do this is to start identifying the things that are holding us back. And this is, we've said very similar things in some of our earlier blabs of creating a list, identify the things that need to change, and then start tackling that list in the smaller quantities that are actually doable for you. And once you've mastered those things, move on to the next one. Start to compound on what you've already done and make these amazing changes. But it didn't feel like an amazing change. It didn't feel like you changed your life overnight. But in the span of 6, 8, 12, 24 weeks, you're a completely different person with unbelievable progress if you simply start identifying the things that need to change and take them on as you can take them on.
I'll use this very easy quote to remember. Take the seemingly impossible and break it down into possibilities. Take the seemingly impossible, because it's seemingly, it's not impossible. Take the seemingly impossible and break them down into small possibilities and then work on those. And that seemingly impossible things that you say, oh my God, that's impossible, it will become your possibility. It will become your reality, basically. Yeah.
And thank you guys for the props. Keep it up. Keep it up. It really does help. According to Blab, it helps. So we appreciate it. Somebody said up here in the comments, surrounding yourself with positive people. And that's absolutely true. And I wanted to talk on that too. However it fits in with the topic we're doing, our let's call it circle of influence, the top people in our life that we spend the most time on have a pretty unbelievable impression on our lives and what we do and how we do it. I was, I'll tell you, just this weekend, in fact, I got back today, I did a little road trip, moving an RV for my father. My father bought an RV online, and I drove to Arizona to bring it back for him. And I took this opportunity of spending hours and hours on the road to read some books or listen to some books on tape. So there is a book called 6 Months to Six Figures, written by Peter Vogt. And he talked about our circle of influence. and I thought this was very interesting, and I wrote it down to tell you guys. There's a university study that proved that essentially the top people in your life have more influence in your decisions and your actions than what people give them credit for. And he stated a few things that were like shocking. And so, for each obese friend in your life, you are 171% more likely to gain weight. For each unhappy friend in your life, you are 7% more likely to be unhappy yourself. For each, person that gets a divorce in your inner circle, you are 75% more likely to get a divorce. This is unbelievable. It's insane. And you say, oh, well, it'd have no influence on my relationship, but I can tell you it does. Firsthand experience, I can tell you it does. And we start to really think outside that, like, oh, well, I have, obese friends and they don't cause. No, but think of the lifestyle you're living, especially around these certain people. And the list could go on and on. Your friends that drink heavier than you, I can vouch for that too. I have friends that alcohol seems to come out every single time we're together.
Now, Jeremy, just a side note here, because we want to make sure to let people know we're not talking about getting rid of your friends.
No. And that's what I was leading to, is that we're influenced in a big way with the people that are around you. And so rather than saying, well, you're obese, so I have to get you out of my life, that's ridiculous. We would never do that. We just need to choose wisely and go in with the right mindset of how we interact with these friends, right? If you can determine that these people in your life, right, the friends that alcohol always came out. I found myself with these certain friends in my life always drinking when we got together, right? It's like it was abnormal. And then I realized, well, I need to take action in this. I love those friends. They're great, but I don't need to drink every time I get together with them. And so we start to make changes to ourselves because we are the ones in control when we're around these people that are influencing us. And the point of what I was saying is not that we have to ditch all these people in our lives because they drink or because they're obese or because they're going through divorce, but we have to be mindful of our actions and our thoughts in the people that are around us. Does that make sense?
Makes sense to me. Absolutely.
Okay, perfect.
And going on with the same thought is that eventually, as you're making changes in your life, you will see that different people will come into your life and certain people, unfortunately, will drop out of your life. It's just the way it works. I'm a very big believer in energy, and I think that the energy that we carry around is the energy that we attract. Okay, so whatever we put out is what comes back in. Hence sure. Jeremy and I, met through social media. We're personal friends now. We know each other in person or what have you, but we met through social media. I can guarantee you that was strictly because we were both looking on the same energy level. We were looking for like-minded people. We were on pages of like-minded people. We were looking to do the same thing. Clearly, we have a show together. So here's a perfect example of how that works out. I've had a lot of friends from my past life that they're still my friends today. We don't hang out. Not that I don't want to, not that they don't want to. Our lives are just different. Things just kind of work differently. But it is important to live through that, to socialize, not only with people, but even with the things that you do. For instance, today I was at the grocery store doing grocery shopping, and I bought my monthly subscription of, Muscle and Fitness, Men's Health. I read this stuff. A lot of the stuff is repetitive, but regardless, it's still the things that I want to live my life by. I belong to a gym because I love the energy of the gym, not necessarily because I need to be at a gym. I can have a home gym if I wanted to, but I love the people there. I love the energy. I love to see other people working out. And all of these different things bring us to live that life. So right. If you want to be successful in whatever it is, surround yourself with successful people in the thing that you want to be successful at. It's as simple as that.
Right. Absolutely. And somebody mentioned, sometimes we do need to ditch people in our life, and you're right. But that wasn't the point of what I was saying. But we all know that, if you've got a toxic person in your life, you need to either limit their exposure, or you got to get rid of them. I mean, that really is There's people that they just don't seem to jive with our happiness, with our, with what we have going on. And yeah, sometimes that needs to be dealt with. But Ellie's right. I mean, you will find as you start to change your mindset, as you start to change your goals, you're going to find that support in new friends or in influencing the friends you have that will be, joining on the bandwagon because of your efforts. Ellie, you talked about, and I'd love to kind of to go on it more, maybe a little bit, but you talked about things that we can implement in our lives to stay positive or to continue that motivation. I've always felt that a planned morning routine, starting our day off on a positive note, starting our day off with a certain routine, with a certain plan, is extremely beneficial. And again, this is one of those things that, like, if you've ever read, self-help books, or if you've ever read all this stuff, that it's the morning routine is a big, big push. And I can vouch for its success in my own life of having a set diehard routine that you go through that not only reminds you of your goals, but also puts you in the place of the positive mindset of moving forward and tackling what the day is going to bring on. And so, one of the things that I do, I get up at 5 a.m. I make sure to have several things completed before I really start my day. And first of all, I remind myself of my goals. I have these written down. I have them in my head. I sit and actually, like you said, meditate almost. I physically sit and think about them, remind myself of them. I like to cover what I'm grateful for. Again, kind of that positive energy, rather than like, oh, well, this bill is due and the car got hit and, like all the crap that we could say that life hits us. I take this time to surround myself or surround my mind with what I'm grateful for. What is awesome in my life right now? What do I have to look forward to? I make a list of the things that I am going to complete that day, no matter what. I will get them done. I also make sure that I get exercise in. In my case, it's I'm doing morning cardio right now. And so at around 5:30, I'm hitting, morning cardio. And then I have a healthy, my first healthy meal of the day. And I think this is an excellent routine that anyone can implement, no matter what time you go to work, no matter what time. You can always, we all have the same 24 hours in a day. So even if you work the 4 a.m. shift, well, maybe that means you need to wake up at 3 a.m. or 2 a.m. in order to start your day off on a positive note. It's a big one for me.
Absolutely. I think that, the beginning of the day, and I can tell you, I'm not a morning person. That's not just generally not a morning person. I've never been. I still am not. But just like you right now, I am doing at least 3 days a week of, morning cardio. So I am up 5 a.m. I can tell you, getting up sucks. But once I get that done, those 3 days of my week, I have to tell you, are the best days. And, psychologically, just your mind is clear. You're starting out where most people are just getting up. You've already had, a few hours of the day up, ready to go, and your mind is clear. And especially if you're writing things down, even if it's on a piece of on a napkin, it just clears your mind, and the stress levels come down, and all of this just increases positivity. Speaking of continual positivity, I wanted to talk about a few things that many of us hear throughout our journeys in our life, especially when we're looking to lose weight or even fitness. Jeremy, I'm sure you as a bodybuilder, I'm sure you've heard a million times, dude, don't get so big. Don't get too big. Don't get too big. Well, wait, that's what I'm working on. Or
right.
Don't be like those guys that they're disgusting, or again, people's opinions. I remember when I was just losing. I probably lost about 50 pounds. I had already lost 50 pounds, so it was very noticeable. My mother, of all people, I still
don't get too skinny.
She's like, you're getting too skinny. I'm like, I'm still like 60 pounds overweight. What are some of the other ones? I wrote some stuff here so that I wouldn't forget. I remember, I was an avid runner. I haven't run in a while now, but I was a marathoner. I'm actually running a half marathon next weekend. and people say, why do you run so much?
Right.
Running is bad for you. And I'm like, are you a physiologist? Are you, people have opinions, and most people don't mean bad. It's just, I think they don't understand, and perhaps your own success and your own goal setting kind of threatens them. Okay. So you have to understand that part. Don't be upset at them, but please, for goodness sakes, know what it is that you need to do and just value your opinion. So if you're, 50 pounds overweight and people are telling you to lose weight, to not lose that much weight, tell them thank you. I will take that into consideration, or, thank you for your opinion. Thank you for your concern, and just move on. If people are telling you, you spend too much time at the gym, unless they're paying your bills, just tell them thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for your concern. Thank you for your opinion, and move on. You're going to hear all kinds of stuff. If there's things that I've missed, and I'm sure I have, please, for God's sake, share them. Things that you've personally heard. We'd love to see them on the chat here. So if you want to write them down and share them so that other people can see, it would be awesome. But remember,
well, even Music Addict 90, the friend that's like, oh, come on, one meal won't hurt you, or my friends that I was referring to earlier, one drink. What's one drink? Come on, just join us. And there may be truth in some of that. There may not be, but at the same time, I'm a big believer in, once you set goals, once you have a game plan in mind, this is something that we shouldn't be deviating from by the peer pressure of others. I mean, that's really what it is. It's somebody talking you into doing something based because of what they want, right? Somebody coming up, which I've heard a million times in the past, of, oh, don't get like just nasty big, don't get unnaturally big, don't get whatever, and for many, many years, not so much anymore, but for many years, my goal was to be the biggest guy that was in the room, right? I wanted to walk in the room and turn heads. That was my goal. And so for somebody to say, don't get unrealistic big, I was like, so what you're saying is I'm not unrealistically big right now. Meaning, dang it, I need to push harder, but what, everyone wants to state their opinion, especially nowadays. I mean, social media has just taken people from common courtesy to, I will feel free to say or type anything that's on my mind and not feel bad about it. Okay. And we have to just have this filter that is like, okay, that's their opinion. You have to be solid in your own goals. You have to know what's important for you and what you're going after, and have your mind set up for your success. Because at the end of the day, if I was to stop going to the gym because person A told me not to get freakishly big, who is that? No one is benefiting from that. Guess what, right?
Guess what 3 words I use all of the time? I just typed them, and I'm going to hit enter right now. Right there. I choose to. Because when you choose something, when we choose something personally, who can tell you any differently? Now,
that's right.
Our usual defense, or most people's usual defense, I know it was mine for a long time, is, oh, Ellie, have a piece of cake. Oh, no, I can't. Right? What do you mean you can't? Right. Come on, just a little piece. The minute you say, I choose not to have it, they say, no, but you can have it. Oh, yes, I know. I can. I just choose not to. That's it. That's the end of the conversation. Jeremy, don't get too big. Well, I choose to be big. Really? Yeah, I choose to be big. What are they going to tell you? Okay. That's it. It's the end of the conversation. Those are very powerful words. So next time somebody has an opinion and is contrary to what you choose, just tell them, I choose to blank. And that'll be the end of the conversation. You're in a position of empowerment, and you have just set your ground. And that's it, period. I choose to.
Yeah. That's right. No, that's great. That is great. In talking about, cravings and habits and this stuff of falling off the wagon, or of, I've failed this many times in the past, or I've tried this before. I'm sure you've heard this from clients, right, Ellie? I mean, I've tried everything in the past. Nothing works for me. All of these things. I think it goes back to not only taking that first step or identifying your weak points, but we also have to understand that the things that we implemented in our lives, the habits that we created that got us to our start photo, essentially, they're not working for us, right? When that habit chimes up, when that trigger kicks in, when that craving comes up, these are things that, yes, we're used to doing. Yes, our brain and our body wants that to happen, but it's not working for us. It's not good. It led to so much negativity. It led you to the point where you're at today. And whether that's, what we talked about earlier, calling yourself fat, all these negative things that we say to ourselves, the negative feelings, the confidence issues, all of this stuff, it is leading us to so much negativity, so much, damage to ourselves, both mentally and physically. We have to come to grips with that.
That's right.
And the second that we come to grips with all of these things we're wanting to do, they were doing more harm than good. Not uneatable. You can have the cake. I have cake. You have cake, Ellie, right?
Sometimes.
I have pizza. You have pizza. Right. Sometimes. We can't have it all the times that we want. That's, again, what led to where we were to begin with. But once we get in our mind and make this mental switch of being like, no, eating this, or not eating this isn't a punishment. It's not a punishment. It's how we should be living to begin with, right? In moderation, having these things that, are going to slightly lead us away from our goals. It's great. It's great if we enjoy those in small quantities once in a while. But when we're sitting here beating ourselves up, feeling like, oh, I'm, having to eat this way, or I'm having to work out. Well, no, I mean, any doctor, any medical, anything in history will tell you that we need to be active. We need to work our bodies. It's good for us. It's healthy for us. It extends our life. The positive repercussions of eating healthy and being active.
The thing is that the thing is, Jeremy, that people think, in general, people think that when you speak about exercise and dieting, it's a box, right? So they're saying there's a gym, there's a CrossFit class, there's spinning, there's whatever it is, and then dieting means I have to eat boiled chicken and broccoli. Okay. I have to measure my food. Yes, that is one way of dieting. Yes, that is one way of exercising. But if that is not within your box right now, for God's sakes, don't just say, well, I'm not going to do it because I'm not ready for that. Find what works for you, because it's that simple. This is not a cookie cutter thing. Everybody works differently. Everybody's at different levels. Okay. I can't go in and lift as heavy as Jeremy Reed because the guy's a beast. He's a monster. I'm not at that level. So, but can I reach his level? Yes. So I start lifting a little bit more than I lift today. But if I plan to go and lift as heavy as Mr. Jeremy Reed, I'm going to go in and fail. And I'm going to say, you know what? I'll never be a power lifter. Never. But that's not true. I can be a power lifter because I guarantee you that stud right there wasn't always that big and wasn't always able to lift that heavy. Am I right, Jeremy?
That's yeah, absolutely.
Right. So the point is to find what works for you and go to and work out what you can today at this moment, and little by little. For God's sakes, folks, it's not about all or nothing. Go out there. Exercise doesn't mean an hour a day. Diet doesn't mean boiled chicken and broccoli. Find your way. And, we're here to help you. Ask us. Let us know, and speaking of helping you, Jeremy, I wanted to discuss a couple of things here, just some very specific tips. And then I think we can go into the question and answer segment.
Yeah.
I want to discuss, and you'll chime in as well and bring in a few tips. There are moments, and I wrote them here because I didn't want to forget, how do we get motivated each day? Tomorrow's Monday. I'm sure we're all gung-ho. The gym is packed on Mondays because everybody's ready to roll. Okay.
That's right.
But Tuesday, Wednesday rolls around and things happen and we kind of lose that motivation. Here's one tip. When you get home, if you committed already, okay, you've committed this evening to going and whatever your workout may be, okay, tomorrow you go in and you do it. Tuesday you say, oh, man, I'm tired. I really don't want to do it. You sit on your couch. Don't fight yourself. Don't say, oh, but I have to do it this. Say, you know what? I'm just going to get dressed for whatever it is that I'm going to do, whether that is putting on, shorts. I live in South Florida, so shorts and a tank top or a t-shirt are fine in winter. Put on your sneakers, put on whatever clothes you wear to do whatever workout you do. Get into your clothes, even if that means sitting on your couch, just wearing your workout clothes. The next step is saying, if you go to a gym, for instance, and I've done this many a time, I'm just going to drive to the gym and I'm going to walk in and check in for 5 minutes. If I still want to go home, I will allow myself to go home. And I'm serious. I'm not even BSing. If after those 5 minutes, I don't feel like working out, I will allow myself to go home. I can promise you, not one time in 9 years have I gone home.
That's right.
You get there and you're like, all right, well, I'll just jump on the treadmill, or you know what? I'll lift lightly today. And the first set comes around and you feel a little bit better, and that energy of other people and the endorphins start kicking in. And guess what? You have a great workout. You're done. And you started out by just saying, I'm getting dressed and I'm just driving to the gym for 5 minutes. Little crazy tricks. It sounds like you're BSing yourself, but they really, really, really do work. Jeremy, do you have another tip?
That's fantastic. And it's really what it's doing is essentially kind of forcing yourself into action when you don't want to do it, but breaking it down into these things that seem doable. And that is the basis of, Ellie's one step at a time approach. If you haven't checked out his book, do that. But that's the whole basis of what we're preaching, what transforming is about, is making things manageable, making them manageable, right? I could sit here as a drill sergeant and tell you, no, get your ass up off the couch and go into the gym. Or you can tell yourself, look, I don't feel like going into the gym. I'm tired. I stayed up way too late last night, whatever it may be. But it's breaking it down a little bit until it's something that, okay, that's doable. All right. I can't commit to a full 60-minute workout, but I will get my workout clothes on and I'll drive 5 minutes to the gym and I'll go in for 5 minutes. I'll go in for 5 minutes. I can do.
That's right.
Right? It's essentially taking on whatever level of commitment that you can take on, knowing that statistically, as Ellie just said, and I can vouch for that as well, chances are once you get there, you're going to love it and you're going to feel better, and you will not want to leave after 5 minutes. You'll be like, oh, this is great. Right. Why was I fighting it so hard? Now I'm awake. Now I have energy. I feel great. I'm going to go, and this is going to be the best workout ever. And this can be applied to almost anything in our lives. That's the thing. It doesn't just have to be, I know we're health and fitness oriented here, but this one step at a time approach, this breaking things down into manageable pieces, can accomplish huge things in your life, whether it's relationships, business, whatever it may be. These same principles can be applied to so many things. It's tremendous.
That's right. Absolutely. And so just to recap of tonight, please remember, you are not fat. We all have fat, and we need fat in order to survive. Some of us have a little more fat than others. That fat we can get rid of, but we're not getting rid of ourselves. Do not identify yourself with any negative connotations. So stop saying I am fat, because you're not. Right. You just have fat. Number one. Number two is, remember, surround yourself with people that you want to be like. Surround yourself not just with people, but today with social media, you can really surround yourself with all kinds of people. Buy books, buy magazines that are in tune with the goals that you want to achieve. To recap what Jeremy said, which was mind-blowing. I had never heard it before. And while I was going through his notes this afternoon, I was like shocked. Can you remind everybody of the name of that author of that book, Jeremy?
Yes, it is. His name is Peter Vogue. I believe he's written more than one book, but the book I was reading is called 6 Months to Six Figures. It's a motivational business entrepreneur book. But Peter Vogue, and it's tremendous, the influence that the people surrounding us have on us. And we need to be very, very mindful, not only of the influence they do have, but also, placing the right people in our life.
That's right. And two more recaps here is, remember, other people's opinions of you, unless they're absolutely positive, discard them. They're only opinions. Okay. Right. If they're positive, take them, run with them, use them as momentum. If they're negative, realize that it's only their opinion, and move on. Okay. This takes practice, folks. So practice on it. I don't expect that tomorrow you're going to be like, it doesn't matter what so-and-so said, my neighbor or my coworker, but practice in getting rid of that. I promise you, with time, and it may take years like it took me, but you will get there. And the other thing is to stay motivated, find little tiny steps each and every day. So instead of saying, I got to go to the gym and thinking, well, I have an hour of workout or whatever it may be, just say, let me just get dressed in my workout outfit and let me just drive to, the park or to the gym or let me go into the room where I do my exercising, or let me get the baby and put her or him in the stroller. Okay. And start going out for a walk. If after 5 minutes you choose not to do it anymore, allow yourself to come back home, and that's fine. Tomorrow will be the next day. I guarantee you 9 out of 10 times you will finish what you committed to. And
right.
The last thing is, remember, folks, tonight after this blab, for goodness sakes, please sit down for 5 or 10 minutes and make 2 small commitments that you are going to keep this week. Very practical commitments, not goal-oriented, meaning I'm going to lose this amount of weight, or I plan to. Very small goal-oriented commitments like, I'm going to walk for 10 or 15 minutes. I'm going to lift for the first time today. I'm going to prep my meals. I'm going to eat at least 1 meal per day that I personally cook. I'm going to stay away from, that extra soda that I have at 3:00 every afternoon. Whatever it may be, you will find that. Make that commitment. Commit it for a week. Share it with us, please, and let us know how you do next week. Jeremy, tell us what we have to look forward to next week's blab, for goodness sakes.
Next week. Well, you know what? Before I get to that, though, I forgot to do something, and I know that he is on here. I believe he's still on here. We randomly drew from last week's shares of our podcast or our blab the winner, and they're going to win. In fact, I'm wearing it again. The wonderful Conquer Today Jeremy Reed Fitness T-shirt. We have randomly selected Gary Willis.
All right, Gary.
Yeah. So I put in there, I mean, I know of Gary. So, either contact me on Facebook or email me, and I'll get that shirt over to you. Next week, we have another book giveaway, right?
Yeah, it's a book written by this guy named E05.
It's pretty darn good.
Yeah,
it's pretty darn good.
If you say so, Jeremy. If you say so. Yeah, I'll be giving out another copy of my book, From Fat Boy to Fit Man, a one step at a time journey to success. And so please join us next week again. Let your friends know. The bigger this gets, the more we can help other people out. If this is helping you out and you feel that other people can benefit and get inspired by what we have to say. Oh, another thing, we're going to start bringing special guests onto the show. Really great people in the fitness industry, motivational people. I'm working right now to bring on, I'm not going to mention, it's going to be a great guest.
The big one.
Yeah, it's you guys know him. Actually, TV shows starting this week, and I will, as soon as he confirms the date that he can come on, I am going to let you all know this guy's an awesome guy, a great friend, super motivational, and we're going to have more and more people like him on the show. So please continue joining us, invite your friends, and let us know. Jeremy, I think we're ready for some questions, man. This is about the
yeah. Let's get some questions going now. I know there was a few questions that didn't get the /Q in front of them. Somebody said something about when I was talking about my Mexico story, and I think they said something about what about scars, or what about these these things that are unchangeable. Again, the point of that story, the point of me telling you that was that stretch marks are scars. They're damaged. They're not going away. We need to look at some of these things as our battle wounds from our journey, whether it be a scar from a surgery, whether it be from being obese like I was, or whether it be from a knife fight. It doesn't matter. It tells a story, just like a tattoo. And some of these things are in our control. I mean, there's things that we can do to go get excess skin removal, all these things. It is in our control, but other things are out of our control. And it doesn't do you any good to sit here and beat yourself up and continue to get yourself down. And this negative self-talk that we've been talking about all show, it doesn't do you any good. Do the best you can with what you've been given, and allow some of these things the stretch marks, the loose skin as I do, these are battle wounds. They tell my story. And as now, since that happened in 2012, I've had many people come up and say very similar things, and they don't have to say these things. I take them as very positive. They're always said like, wow, like looking at you, it's extremely impressive of what you've accomplished. And it's pretty amazing. So
we have another.
Do we have any?
Yeah, we have another question here. Again, guys, please, it's /Q. What is it again to ask a question, Jeremy? So that we can
/Q/Q.
Right. So Stephanie Boo asks, so what do you guys feel about doing a smoothie fast to start a weight loss journey? This is day 17 for me. Stephanie, I'm going to be really honest with you and blunt. And this has nothing to do with you. But I'm going to tell you, it sucks. Plain simple sucks. Anything that is not sustainable, yes, I promise you're going to lose weight, but I can also promise you that it's not going to work long term. I've been there, Jeremy's been there, and I'm sure that a lot of people on this blab have been there. Anything that has with, fasting, for God's sakes, our bodies need food. And this is definitely not the place or the time to go into details for this, because there's a lot of variables. And Jeremy and I, both discuss it on a daily basis on our social media, on other blabs, etc. But just to give you a short answer is fasts of any type, especially a smoothie fast. Will you lose weight? Absolutely you will, but you're going to gain it back just as quickly, and it's not good for your body. It's just not good for your health. So bottom line is, what do you guys think? Ellie thinks no. Just if you were my sister, my daughter, my wife, my mom, I'd say don't do it, and I would sit down with you and give you something that was sustainable. So, Jeremy, you want to chime in? Also?
No, I completely agree. And it comes down to one of these things where a lot of people, and we are inundated with people trying to sell us their ideas or their products, to the quick fix, right? Lose 10 pounds in 1 week, lose whatever. I mean, you're on day 17 for crying out loud. You've done this for over half a month. And I'm sure that you've likely lost some weight probably. But you got to understand what it's doing to your body, and the fact that you've spent 17 days going down a road that's not sustainable. At some point you're going to end this thing. And what are you going to do? What lifestyle habits have you built to go back on after this, smoothie start or whatever has ended? And that's where most people gain it all back, is because, they've built they've got no game plan after this works, right? Oh, right. I lost 20 pounds. I lost 30 pounds. I lost 40 pounds. And then poof, they're left with the habits and the lifestyle that got them to the before photo to begin with. And so, and the same thing, in my opinion, applies to cleanses. There's so many cleanse products out there, and everyone's trying to sell you, buy the cleanse ebook for $9.99, buy the pills, buy the whatever, your 21-day fixes, and all of these things. They're not sustainable, and our body already cleanses itself. Right. So there is proof, in my opinion.
But guys, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jerry. I'm sorry.
There is for some of us, cleansing the colon. There are natural herbs and stuff that can cleanse the colon out. We can be holding on to extra pounds of waste products in our colon. That's great. I don't want that, sitting around in my body for 6 months. But when it comes to all of these other cleanses, a lot of it is smoke and mirrors. It really is. It's a combination of starving yourself and taking supplements to shed yourself of excess water. And really what happens is we get ourselves, falsely excited. And then what happens when we go off? That's the thing. I agree completely.
The thing is that, Stephanie Boo, I just wanted, I was blunt, but I wasn't trying to be blunt with you. I was really trying to get a point across very seriously, because unfortunately, and we've all been in that position before. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
The marketing is insane. And we want, before we get really educated, and it took me years to get educated. Okay. Fat burning pills, HCGs, all kinds of stuff. But I know plenty of people that have landed themselves in metabolic problems where even naturally they can't lose weight anymore. Their bodies are so screwed up because they've tried so many drastic things. please, please, please stay away from these drastic measures, because all they're going to do is going to give you long-term trouble. When you're ready to do it for real, sustainably, it's going to be almost impossible to do. So, Stephanie, reach out to me or to Jeremy on our social media. I'll be happy to give you some more information. I'm sure Jeremy as well. I'm positive Jeremy as well. So, reach out to one of us or both of us or what have you, please. Okay. Anybody else with any questions here? I'm not sure, but we are at the top of the hour, Jeremy. I want to thank everybody personally who has joined us this evening. We look forward to seeing you next week. Jeremy, you have next week's topic, right?
I do. And I don't want to screw it up. I want to get to where I wrote it down. We went back and forth with this, and you may see a different title. We're going to see, but essentially we are going to talk about 5 tips for effective fat loss. We are going to give our top 5 tips for effective fat loss. And this can be applied to anyone. And obviously, like you saw in this blab, we're going to be covering a lot of different things, but that's going to be the blab title. Please, 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 we count on you to share this with your friends. Get the word out. Get people excited. Get excited yourself. And, we'd love to see you here next week, every Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We will be here. We hope to see you here as well. And like we said, we're going to be bringing on guest speakers. These are people that have done amazing things or are extremely knowledgeable that we know you will benefit from. Absolutely. Having them on this show. And so, the combination of having it be informative, but also entertaining and things that you want to watch is awesome. Another thing that we're going to have coming up, I don't know that it's going to be the week after next, but we are going to have a Q&A episode where we take commonly asked questions. Ellie and I get a tremendous amount of questions sent our way in a week's time. And it feels like, I don't know about you, Ellie, but it feels like sometimes I'm answering the same questions over and over and over. Yeah. And so
common denominators. Sure.
Yeah. So there will be some of those questions, but at the same time, we want to know your questions. What's the thing that, hey, if you had 3 or 5 minutes with a fitness professional, what would be the one question you would ask them? And so I've pasted in our Facebook links. They're in the chat box. I've pasted them a couple times. Come to us, give us your questions. And we're going to be collecting these and doing an entire episode filled with Q&As and some other fun stuff in there. But we count on you as well. So reach out to us, hit us up on social media, and let's continue to push this blab thing forward. It's been a great experience. Anything to add, Ellie?
Well, I just added our Instagram and our Twitter handles there also. So please, join us on Instagram, join us on Twitter. We're all over social media. If you can't find us in one place, you can find us in the other. So we are here for you, and we look forward to your questions, your comments, and you're joining us next week again. Once again, Thank you so much. We hope that you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Bye, guys. Have a great night. Peace.